on Built Heritage of India. The panelists will be Professor K.N. Dikshit, Professor Alok Tripathi, Professor Bibha Tripathi, Dr. S.B. Ota, and Dr. Nizamuddin Tahir. May I please request Professor Dikshit, Professor Alok Tripathi, Professor Bibha Tripathi, Dr. S.B. Ota, and Dr. Nizamuddin Tahir to kindly come up on the stage. This panel discussion will continue till 4:20 p.m. Thereafter, we will be having the concluding session.
कितने बजे निकलना चाहते हैं कल?
5:30।
5:30?
हाँ 9 बजे ना?
5:30 से?
हाँ 9।
5 एक साथ ही है। इसका मतलब आपका 9:30 पे है और आपको सब एक साथ है। बिहार में SB Ota आपको तो है ना?
हाँ वो कितने बजे?
6 AM से?
लेट नहीं हो जाएगा?
लेट हो जाएगा?
हाँ आजकल जल्दी कर रहे हैं।
5:30?
SB Ota 5:30।
मेरा सुबह 5 बजे का फ्लाइट है।
5 बजे
तो आप आज रात को जाकर सो जाओ।
6:35 है ना? 6:35 है ना? 6:35
है तो
कितने बजे निकलना चाहते हैं सर?
बताइए।
रात अभी खाना बना
और सुबह तो उड़ने जाना नहीं होता। हम यहाँ 4 AM कर लें।
अच्छा ठीक है। लिखना पड़ेगा कुछ।
4 बजे चलो ना सुबह मेरे साथ।
तो कितने बजे फ्लाइट है?
6:35।
6:35 मीन्स 5:35, 4:35, 4 बजे तक पहुंचना है। रात को 2 बजे निकल जाओ। और नहीं एक्चुअली रात को ये नहीं सोएंगे, दूसरे को सोने भी नहीं देंगे। मैं पेन नहीं लाया हूँ। पेन डबल लाया है क्या? क्या करना है? क्या पैनल डिस्कशन? बनानी पेन है? अब कागज दे दो। सीट नहीं, इसमें नहीं है।
जनरली they keep care.
कोई बात
Pad and pen.
पेन
नहीं
And this discussion is on what? Sir. कैसे कंडक्ट करना है? क्या नहीं पैनल ऑन व्हाट? क्वेश्चन इज पैनल डिस्कशन इज हाउ टू स्टार्ट एंड विच एस्पेक्ट हैज टू। पहले मैं आप कहिए, किसी को कुछ बोलना है तो बोल। नहीं मैं बताता हूँ, ऐसा नहीं है। देखो आपने क्या देखो उसमें वो कर देना जो भी बोलूँगा मैं उसके हिसाब से। आई विल स्टार्ट इट। शुक्र है।
आप स्टार्ट कीजिए, फिर वन बाय वन
हम लोग
अच्छा, वो दोनों बोल दिया।
नहीं आप पहले बोलेंगे।
हाँ मैं बोलूँगा, लेकिन पहले वो कहें तो शुरू करिए कि नहीं।
शुड वी स्टार्ट?
प्लीज, इट्स अप टू यू।
Friends on the dais, ladies, gentlemen, delegates, experts on different fields. Now, we have formed a panel, and in the last 2 days, many aspects of built-in heritage have been discussed by different seminars and different aspects. The question is this: what is built-in heritage? Because we know that there are two types of heritage, tangible and intangible. So our discussion is based on tangible heritage, that is a built-in heritage. The question is what kind of monuments they have been selected, or what kind of monuments are there under the World Heritage list, under the state list, under the corporations, and private bodies are also there. Then the question is this: we have also discussed on their conservation angle. Then beyond conservation, we have also discussed about the conventions, world conventions, and the Indian laws about that. And there are certain laws which have been no doubt made but could not be passed. It was just a surprise. We just came here to this mission, and one night I was just seeing a skyscraper. Once I thought that this may be a part of this building. So the question is this law of the Maharashtra government, which they have made it but could not pass it. Then another thing is heritage management. So you must have seen on this discussion from the different experts from the foreign countries, what should be the patterns of heritage. But in India, we are not so developed as the Western countries are. What should be the tourism angle? Because there are so many tourism angles, the religion is involved, and when we go to a particular area or district level, the community is also involved, and community is the pride of their heritage. So this has been seen in the many parts of the country, especially in the tribal area. They are very much interested in their heritage. And now, if a proper step are taken, then this is also quite a job-oriented, and where the money is not involved. Money you automatically get it from the visitors and others. And that is not in our country alone, as you have seen in Scotland and other places in the Western Europe, especially in Malta and Rome or Portugal or Germany, everywhere. Because there are different types, and all over the different religions are involved. In India, the Buddhists are there, Jains are there, Hindus are there, Muslims are there, Zoroastrians are there. All the religions, they are making their own religious places and other places of attraction. And sometimes the burial places, the burial practices of the country, they've also now become the important heritage symbols. We call them cemetery, we call them samsan, we call them by so many names. So these are the aspects which we are going to discuss, and it is open to delegates also who are sitting there, and my friends here, if they want to include any other aspect which I have missed it, they are most welcome to do it. And so now I will request Professor Ota to kindly say a few words.
Thank you, sir. So I have got a few suggestions. We have seen that our built heritage, particularly heritage, archaeological heritage, are almost, I mean, we do not know how many are there in our country. We initiated the National Mission on Monuments and Antiquities, somehow got struck up somewhere, and it's a high time that we should know what is our total property, archaeological heritage in our country. We have not yet assessed it, and that should be the first thing for each of the states, each of the organizations. Doesn't cost much to their students. Let us create a database and a mapping work of all the archaeological sites and heritage buildings. Every state in South, they have done it up to probably 5th, 6th century AD for all the 4 states. They have done it. And Tamil Nadu is already out, that's in the digital form. Now many of the states, they have done partially, but right from prehistoric site up to the British time buildings, that has to be done. That's one of my suggestions. Then we cannot preserve each and every sites or the heritage buildings, built heritage. We'll have to select. So there is a method which you call a site ranking study. We do that in archaeology. If we have got something like 5,000 sites, what are those sites which need to be preserved for the future? There are different ways, the value based, you can count it and all that. You can assess that site ranking. Once you know all the sites in a particular area, we can have some selection. We cannot take care each and every dotted with the sites. It will never happen. Site ranking has to be done. That's a very, very easy method. Once survey is done, you can do that. Once that is done, the third phase should be the documentation of those selected built heritage, which will be very elaborate, which encompasses including its physical condition of the building and rest of the things. That is one aspect. That is a basic need for each of the states has to be done. Then in the other aspect is training. Somehow I feel that we do not have a single institute where conservation training can really be imparted. These are done in 1 month, 2 months course and like that. Even in SPA, School of Planning and Architecture, they are giving the training, but sometimes I feel like sometimes I go for teaching and it's not sufficient. So some organization should initiate at least 6 months course or certificate course. We have got the people in the country. We have got the people. They can be invited and go for that. And as regards the conservation and maintenance is concerned, it's not that we'll have to train the professionals only. The common masses need to be trained, need to be aware of. Because how many experts are there in the conservation field? Can they take care of thousands of sites and buildings? No. We'll have to make them aware. That's there, that one has to go. And that can only be done if that is taught in the school level. Even if that government is not introducing in the school syllabus, the history teachers can be trained to take few classes. Let them, many of the schools, they go for the picnic and all that. I have requested many of the schools, instead of going for a picnic, come to the heritage sites, call us, we'll just guide you. That is how we can create some sort of interest among the children. We should not just wait for the day that government will introduce a syllabus course and all that. No, we can motivate the children. And another thing is the community involvement. All the time I say that local people, they never feel that it's their heritage, because somewhere we have gone wrong, whether in the government or in the professionals. All the time the way we behave, and they feel that, okay, this is not our property, it's their job to take care of. So we'll have to make them feel how you will be benefited, connect them with the heritage. If that is done, probably I feel that somewhere we can take a turn. And for the present, these are the suggestions. And sir, thank you. Thank you.
You would like to speak?
Yeah, after this.
No, I will tell you.
Okay.
Now, I will request Professor Bibha Tripathi, a well-known archaeologist, and we are hearing her for the last 2 days, her views on many aspects of heritage management. So I will request her to please speak a few words.
Thank you very much, Dikshit ji. The main theme of the present seminar has been built heritage. And besides what we see on the ground, there is plenty of it which we don't see on the surface of the earth. Much of it is hidden underground, which archaeologists expose from time to time. One of the things that I had always been observing is that India in general, so far as heritage is concerned, we have a problem of plenty. Every nook and corner, wheresoever we go, we find that there is something very, very important about which we have not known, about which we have not heard. Because they are not there in the books. They are not being talked about. So one of the basic needs, as just now pointed out by Dr. Ota also, Dr. Dikshit also, is that we need to create some kind of a documentation. And documentation we had been doing at different levels all along. Our problem is that there are so many small places, regional issues with such important important heritage structures. Therefore, unless we involve the local bodies, as pointed out even by school teachers and those who are living around a place, we will have difficulty in documentation of all those places. Long back there was one school teacher. She had launched a program with her students that you go around your village and make a note of all those places which are there, where you go for your puja, where you celebrate your festivals. There might be some pond, some jheel, some small temple. Some of them might be of some importance. There might be some belief system which is associated with certain places. So those children were asked to prepare a list, ask their elders what is the significance of those small places, and come to school and we will talk about it. And then all the students who don't live in that area, they would also be taken in a group to visit those places. Their importance would be discussed. So this is a very small step taken by a school teacher at some point of time. I think we can enlarge the scope of such an approach, and every area, if school children or if college going students, and better still if senior research scholars visit their own villages or towns and make a list and discuss maybe in a few lines, in a few paragraphs about those places, we will have a full documentation of important places which we may attribute as heritage buildings or heritage sites. So we have to have some such approach where we first indulge into documentation of the local places, then we can maybe collate such information which has been collected at these small local levels. And next comes the most important. Once these people are aware, we will have to inculcate some kind of pride in those people about their heritage. Only then they would feel like being associated. I recall most of the excavations when we conduct, what happens from the first day onwards, there would be visitors, people would be inquisitive. क्या कर रहे हैं यहाँ? खजाना निकाल रहे हैं? कौन था राजा यहाँ पे? कहाँ से ये सब आ गया? This kind of questions are generally asked. हमारा अप्रोच क्या होता है, हम अपने को बड़े सुपीरियर पोजीशन में रख लेते हैं. We want to some way push them away, sort of shoo them away. That is generally the approach by most of the team of the excavations. Mostly students in our case, in their case maybe some higher level individuals who are involved. So there was a long time back, I think Professor Sankalia had talked of site museums, the concept of site museum, so that the local people know that this is their heritage, this is the site in their area from where such important things have come up, and they should feel proud and associated. So maybe that would be a good approach for all those who are involved in this kind of a work. About Scotland, about Guptipada, which we just now heard, I observed that the problem is that of funding. Government cannot be expected to look after all these sites and all these problems at local levels, because even otherwise government is now asking for people to be self-dependent almost in every way. So conservation is not really possible for local people, but definitely if we encourage some kind of tourism, like you gave a very good example when you said that there was a group of 12 friends who created some kind of a body which started Durga Puja. And from that Durga Puja, in that small area, a larger group, still larger group grew. So if we have that kind of an approach, so that we start a small mela or some such cultural event, which most of the local areas have in their area, like Dr. Maruti Nandanji was talking about Bharat Milap. So for that Bharat Milap in Banaras it is called Lakha Mela. So I mean such an event takes place not in one day. I recall Banaras ki Ganga Aarti has become very famous, but it has come up only in last 1 decade. Dev Deepavali was never heard of. In our younger days, nobody knew what is Dev Deepavali. Some people would go light a lamp there and put it on the pole of at a height. That is all. But now this has become so famous that all over the world it is being watched on television. So it is the force of the local tradition, local people. They have come up, they have created a program, and they have started some kind of a mission. So in our country, with our limited resources, unless we have such an involvement of the local people, we may not come up, or we may end up losing many of our traditions, tangible or intangible, or even such sites where somebody would come up and start cultivation or cutting away parts of it so that they can expand their fields, that kind of a thing. When I visited Sanoli, which is being talked about so much, it is at the level of the road, maybe slightly lower than that, and there are sugarcane fields all around. So the days wouldn't have been far when it would have been gone unnoticed. It is a chance that we could have such an important discovery at that level. So I think we need to make the local people aware, involve them, and create some kind of, because even in our local bodies there are very, very creative people who have lots of urge to feel important, to place their areas at a higher pedestal so that they can feel important, that we are associated with that place. So such effort has to be made. How to go about it, that might be really a challenge. So we have to reduce government participation. One of the suggestions which came from one of our speakers on the Google Meet, the slide said pollution payment. So
Thank you.
हाँ, तो pollution payment भी हम कैसे involve करें, कैसे लोगों को ले आएं, that also would be very important. And then how to
Vivaji,
हाँ,
I think we will have the another round.
हाँ, sure.
So now I will request Tahir, with a very strong archaeological background, including the conservations and other things in South India, especially Andhra Pradesh and our Telangana region, and also Goa and other, for which he is known for his work. So now I will request him to take up, please, to take up the aspect which we have not given much importance and which you think should be given more importance, and our built-in heritage
Heritage
management system will be better.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible? No? Thank you very much, especially the organizers for organizing. What I would like to highlight is that actually I'm a government servant. I've been working in this institution for 30 years. And many times we take many things for granted because we have got a lot of funds, we have got infrastructure, and we think that we are thinking for everyone. But it's never like that. So after 10 years of my working in ASI, I realized we are not really in tune with what the community wants, what the people want. So after my initial training, when I got my independent charge, the first thing I did was started setting up interpretation centers. So many times we talk of museum, many times we talk of things which are really not accessible to the people. But the interpretation center, the information center, is accessible to everyone, and we can speak in their language. English, Hindi, local vernacular, it could be Telugu, it could be any language that is local. So wherever monument which I work, the first thing I do is set up interpretation center or convert the monument itself into interpretation. So this has been opposed by my seniors because they didn't understand. So I'm not doing something which is wrong. I'm only giving them the additional information to stop vandalism at the site. A simple example I'll give you at Charminar. So at Charminar, after coming to the site, people climb up and they don't have much things to do out there. They start writing on the wall. So what we did was interpreting the ambient, interpreting the presence. Apart from Charminar, we spoke about the bazaar. We spoke about Hyderabad, what Hyderabad is known for, the pearl market. What Hyderabad is known for, the Unani medicine. So everything was interpreted there so that the people will come and educate themselves. So this is how we thought we could control the activity there. And even in Bhopal, when I was posted there, Ota Sahab also was there. So in Kamla Park. Kamla Park is a very small monument. There's nothing much there. People come there, couples come there. I'm not against the couples. They come there, they sit there. But are they getting educated? Are they getting to know about the monument? So what we did, we converted the monument itself into an art gallery. So we requested the local people, my own colleagues, whatever thing they have in their store, come and give it to me, we'll display it. And that it became an art gallery, and they've been converted into a center which is interpreting the Bhopal. Because many times the Bhopalis from the old city, they go to the new city and they cross over Kamla Park. So to create pride in them, we spoke about Bhopal culture and we made documentaries. In the evenings, on the Saturdays and Sundays, we used to project the documentaries about Bhopal, what Bhopal is. So I thought that every day we are projecting the documentaries of Bhopal, and the people may not be appreciating it. I started giving them other aspects of Madhya Pradesh. But some people, the lady in Burkha, she came and told me, "आप लोग भोपाल के बारे में दिखाते थे यहाँ, आपने क्यों नहीं दिखाया?" Then I realized that the word had spread. And even if I'm showing something on Bhopal for 5 minutes, people come to view about that. So this is what people want. People don't want to talk about Taj Mahal. People don't want to talk about tangible, intangible. This is all intellectual discussions. If we do it at various platforms. But what the people want the basic information about themselves. And this is even in Telangana. I requested that Maulvi of one monument. He said, "I see what you want." He said, "Mujhe ye chahiye, wazu khana chahiye." I gave them everything what they wanted. Then I requested, "I want your tomb. I want to put up interpretation within your tomb so that whatever is within the country will be displayed there. And what about the local culture will also display within your thing, the Islamic traditions." So it's a really, people liked it. Initially there was oppositions everywhere. So you convince them, you sit with them, you talk to them in their language. Don't talk like a government servant. ये हो तो ये हो जाएगा, ये damage हो जाएगा तो ये हम आपको fine कर देंगे. ना. Explain to them that this is theirs. We all talk about it intellectually when we are sitting on the platform. But where do we practice? कितने interpretation centers हमारे पास है? हाँ? Hyderabad mein, again there's a big golf course within the Golconda Fort. There was a big conflict between ASI and the golf course people. They're very rich people there. They wanted to play golf, they got the property. But there I told them, with their own funds, I created a interpretation there to show them where they're golfing, what is the significance of the site. And the money was got from them. And I built it up there. And the people who are golfing there are appreciating the ancient presence of Golconda Fort much better because there's something there to see. So this is what I want, educating the masses in their own language. This is what I want to highlight. I think I can speak on many other aspects, but I think other panel people will continue. But interpretation center of the local place in their own language is the first prerequisite.
Thank you, Tai. Now I will request Professor Alok to say a few words, and he should deal only with those aspects which have been not discussed here, because the time is not there now.
No, I'll take the same time, no problem. So, all the three speakers who are sitting to my right are core archaeologists of Archaeological Survey of India. And the one speaker to my left is a academician with a long experience. Fortunately or unfortunately, I am the one blend of these two. My 2/3 is of Archaeological Survey of India, 22 years, and 1/3, 11 years of the academics. So I think I have something from both the sides. And that's why I think in a little bit different way. Generally, we Indians think what is happening and what is to be done. The what is the first question comes to our mind. But this is the second part of my life. In academics, we have enough time to think why it is happening. And I feel that why is more important than what. And most probably, this is what I feel, I may be wrong, that generally we do not pay attention to why. And that is the real reason we are having most of the problems. Let us talk about heritage. We are talking about heritage, but heritage is a very vast thing. Anything can be heritage for different people. But this heritage has not been defined in any Indian law, as far as I know. What is defined? But we are talking about built heritage, means monument. And this monument is defined in the Ancient Monument Preservation Act 1904 and then 1958 Act. But again, there is a big confusion that who should take care of the monuments. Our constitution put monuments in two different parts. 7th schedule list 1 says the monuments of national importance are with the central government. Rest all monuments is the responsibility of the state. It's a state subject. But states never feel that monuments belong to them. If anything happen anywhere in the country, people will say ASI is not doing anything. And again, there is a historic reason. In this short time, I cannot go in that. So even those who are educated, those who are dealing with the heritage, they themselves do not know that who is supposed to take care of that. And even those who are taking care of it, they have got a sense of ownership. That is a big issue. Be it a central government, be it a state government, be it the local authority, local body, municipality, they feel we are the owner of this. Whereas this heritage belongs to the public. And it has survived for hundreds of years because of them. Generally we feel and we say that public is uneducated. They do not know anything about heritage. And that is our biggest misunderstanding. Because they know everything and we got them because they were there, they took care, that's why they survived. And if we had not interfered, they would have been in a better condition probably. I'm coming to that.
Hello.
Just 2 minutes. I'll take.
He is telling that we have to stick to
Yeah, I'll do it.
But I can request Maharajji to give me time also for 5 minutes, but not for you.
Okay.
For the delegate.
Yeah. I'm just finishing. I'm coming to that.
Oh,
Go and do. Maharaj ji ne permission de di. Okay.
नहीं लेकिन आप मत करिए.
No. I'm coming to the point just. Yeah. So the thing is, we are talking about that public doesn't know. We do not have the legislations. Just a minute, I'm just finishing. Now we are talking about international convention. Venice Charter, one of the most important. And who were there to frame it? Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, Netherlands, Denmark, Austria, Mexico, Peru, Vatican, Greece, Poland, Tunisia, Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia. They made it. Asia, totally absent. So they are telling us what to do. But anyway, Venice Charter is a beautiful piece of legislation and we should do it. But have you ever read what it says? We have been doing it in a different way. It talks about setting. That you should not take care only of the monument but also its surrounding. You go to Vrindavan, we don't take care of only Bake Bihari Mandir, the entire Vrindavan we take care of it, but in a different way. So we Indians had that concept, we were working in that, but we are looking from the Western point of view and we say no, we have to learn from them. We have been doing it any other place you go. We have the sacred groves, we have sacred landscape, we have sacred water bodies, and we have been taking care of it. We should have understood it and moved it.
No.
Okay.
Your 2 minutes are also over.
So that is what few points I'm just concluding. So that is what we are saying. Actually, we are moving. I am very clear. We are moving in a wrong direction. Actually, the world is saying common heritage, world heritage. Now we are going to Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, Islamic heritage. This heritage, that heritage. So I think what we really need is to change of mind. That is what my understanding is. Unless we start thinking in a different way, our real problems are not going to be solved. Thank you, sir.
Now, I must thank all the people on all the dais. But we are having only the time up to 4:20. But Maharaj is here, so if he will give us the permission, this thing can continue for 10 minutes, so that we can reach to some definite conclusions. And we have to hear our delegates. My first choice is, I will request the person till this time in the last 2 days, if they have not asked any question and if there is any query, they are most welcome. Please raise your hand.
On any subject.
And anybody?
On any subject.
No, you are speaking. I am talking about anybody who wants to speak? No. Acha, now I will request. First, my request will be Professor Tiwari. The second will be from Durga. And then, if the time remains, only 2 minutes, sir. 2 to 3 minutes. Please.
Should I start?
Yes, start.
We all should be heritage friendly. Not only merely the experts sitting on the dais in the audience, but the common people, as Dr. Ottawa said. And they must be made realize and getting involved and having awareness about their pride and the importance of the heritage. Just one suggestion. We as experts write research papers. How many people read it? We as experts are holding the seminar, sitting. How many people? So how do you expect that you are going, reaching the common man? No. For that one thing we all must do and we must pledge for it. I have been doing all through. We must write general, common articles in the media, newspapers, electronic media. Then only common man will know of their pride and heritage, and then they will gradually develop the concern, involvement and love, passion for their heritage. Thank you.
Durga, please.
Just one sentence, that is, from this seminar, can we take a resolution, all of us, that to make the people aware of our heritage? That is my submission, humble submission to you all.
Anyone else? Yourself? Anybody?
वो करने के बाद उसके बाद
सर, मेरा जो सवाल है ओटा साहब से कि आपने बोला आर्कियोलॉजिकल साइट का सिलेक्शन, तो सिलेक्शन कौन करेगा? 2013 में जो दौंडिया खेड़ा में हुआ था, तो उसके बाद वो सिलेक्शन प्रोसीड्योर कैसे फुलफिल होगा, ये जरा हम लोगों को पता करना चाहिए। और दूसरी बात, हम त्रिपाठी सर से एकदम सहमत है कि अभी हम लोगों का जो कल्चरल क्रोनोलॉजी जो हम लोग करते हैं, ये बुद्धिस्ट है, ये जैन है, इसको कंप्लीटली स्टॉप करके नए हिसाब से करना चाहिए। थैंक यू सर।
जो साइट सिलेक्शन के बारे कर रहा हूँ ना, साइट रैंकिंग, देयर इज ए मेथड फॉर इट। देयर आर समथिंग 10 different attributes, architecture value, different values and all that. We give points. If one of the sites which is very rare, we do not find, his value increases. Same type of sites, there are 500 and partially damaged. So you cannot go for all those 500 sites. So there is a selection method. We do that actually, site ranking which you call. Site selection is site ranking, it's a different method, site ranking.
हम जब हेरिटेज की बात करते हैं तो ये बचपन से आवाज आ रही है, हमको बचपन से ये चीज सिखानी चाहिए बच्चों को। हमारे सिलेबस में जो इनिशियल सिलेबस है उसमें हेरिटेज का बिल्कुल कोई इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं है। हमारे जो संस्कृत लैंग्वेज है, हमारी और भाषाएं हैं जो लोकल भाषाएं हैं, उनका रिप्रेजेंटेशन नहीं है। बच्चों को हम शुरू में ABCD और ए से एप्पल और वो सिखाना शुरू करते हैं, और वो कहानियां कौन सा लिटिल स्टार और बडिंग स्टार बोलना शुरू कर देते हैं बच्चों को। टोटली हम लोग अपने हेरिटेज से कटे हुए हैं। तो हमको सबसे पहले अपने बच्चों को हेरिटेज प्रॉन बनाना चाहिए। उनको कहानियां दादा नानी की सुनाते थे बचपन में, वो कोई नहीं सुनाता, वो पूरी तरह से कटे हुए हैं रूट से। सो हेरिटेज को तो हमको अपने रूट से शुरू, घर से, परिवार से शुरू करना पड़ेगा, तब बच्चे ग्रो होकर के कुछ हेरिटेज को सीखेंगे। This is my say.
Banani, do you want to say? Anyone else?
स्वामी जी में से कोई करेंगे? स्वामी जी
मैं इनको देना नहीं चाहता था, लेकिन क्या करें, मानते नहीं है।
स्वामी जी को कुछ
नहीं, स्वामी जी
Sir, I agree with Mr. Tripathi. I am a member in the...
No question. If you want to say anything, you want to add anything, you are free to take 1 minute and say.
Suggestion.
No, this cultural heritage charter and all that thing, we must change our mindset. This is Magna Carta we are following in instead of engineers. We should change it. That's why once I raised this point.
Thank you. स्वामी जी, आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे? 2 मिनट.
Are you going to demolish the things which are in a perfect damage state? While ranking, what policy do you follow?
while ranking.
So 500 say monuments are in a very bad condition.
Now, I'll just give you one example. Probably most of us, we are not understanding what the site ranking study is all about. When you do a site ranking, in the sense, for example, what sort of British time buildings, okay, those are constructed in 1950s, it has got a style. When you select the particular monument, we go, what is the historical aspects, what is the architectural aspects, what is the style in that, what is the physical condition of that, where it is located, how people attach to themselves to that. Like that, there are different factors are responsible. We calculate, we give some numbers. For example, barracks. Barracks buildings are there plenty in Calcutta. Something like 50, 20, 30 barracks buildings, all are same. Now, do you feel that all the barracks buildings of 50, which is running something like 5 kilometers, should be preserved? We cannot. Then everything will come to standstill. So out of these 20, which are same history, same architecture, everything is same, we can select how the barracks look like. We can select one, best one, and go for that. That is how the site ranking is done. There is method.
I have to say.
So about preservation, you see.
I have to.
Okay, you try
on this issue, I have to say, because that is a theoretical aspect. In practical, I want to give you some example. Bodh Gaya temple, it's World Heritage, but it is not monument of national importance. VT, it's a World Heritage, it's not a monument of national importance. So we are not judging the real importance of the monuments.
But
it depends.
The World Heritage list?
Yeah, that is in World Heritage, but not national importance. That is one thing. Second, the best example is Kos Minars by Akbar. Some Kos Minars are of national importance. They are the same structure along that Grand Trunk Road. Some are state protected and most are not protected. So they are the same pillars. How 5 are of national importance, how 3 in Punjab, 2 in Rajasthan are of state protected, and then rest 150 or something unprotected. So we don't have any criteria. And the another thing, there are 2 ways of doing it. Like Australia, I can give you example. In Australia, if suppose one monument of one period is protected, so all the similar monument automatically get preserved. Suppose like a British building. So if British one tomb is protected, means all British tomb will automatically get protected, because British tomb are of national importance. But we have one temple protected, by the side there is same temple and it is not protected, of the same period, same place, same style. So we don't have any criteria.
What is your then policy?
No, we are not talking about protection by Government of India or protection by state. How many real heritage buildings need to be kept in the country?
Need to be protected.
Not protected in the sense under the legislation of ASI or state. How many really standing buildings, heritage buildings, should be kept? in the future. That is how we have to decide.
Unthinkable.
There are so many things people are discussing, but sometime in the government what happens, you give the scheme and then scheme goes to the bureaucrats and somebody. It is discussed, then they will say it will be sent to parliament, this and that. So years will roll on and the things will remain there. So whatever we are able to achieve it, that remains in our hand. But what he has said is that there are many buildings which still requires the national attention, state attention. I have not requested Dr. Mani to speak because he is having 10 minutes to discuss all the issue in his valedictory. So I thought it will be overlap. So the question is, he should be given time there. Anybody?
Sir, this building is a heritage building, but we have to break our heads in order to get tax.
Sir, one thing is there.
Very difficult.
No, difficult.
We have to pay heavy tax on this.
No, not sir.
We have to repair it.
No,
we have
I
to
will
keep
tell
it in a nice shape. And we have to spend crores of rupees, even in every alternate year.
There are ways
we have to
also.
manage it from some other sources.
No, sir, there are ways. The question is this, otherwise we are having 100 years. But the question is, if you declare it something of the national importance or something like that, then the rules, they don't take place there. A memorial, this, that, and so on. If a memorial is even for less than 100 years, we are protecting them, looking after. There are so many other buildings. So, government is government. Laws are laws.
No, local municipalities should have heritage law as they have in Mumbai Fort area. Heritage buildings are exempted from taxes because they have to spend on maintenance. So if Kolkata municipality has
indiscriminately,
heritage laws,
I tell you,
so they can do it.
Very discriminate.
बेबा जी आपको कुछ करना है? नहीं, जल्दी से. You are having 1 minute. We are for conclusion also. You have to say anything which we have not discussed. Any message? Any message?
Message, yes. Very strong feeling is, as I said earlier also, that we need to involve the community. It is the community's heritage and the community has to be involved. How to go about it, that is something which we can discuss at some point of time.
Thank you. One thing is this, before concluding this session, we were here for 2 days, discussed many aspects, and have no words to thank Maharaj Ji. He has organized such a beautiful arrangement, extended such a beautiful stay, a memorable one, and I will not say कि such time of gesture or the facilities are extended कि मेरा मन करता है कि बहुत जल्दी बुलाएं तो मैं फिर से यहाँ आ जाऊँ.
We join you in this request and wish. And thanks.